Today we're going to be looking at how to create a stem and leaf plot. A stem and leaf plot is a way to show or organize data from least to greatest value. And here we can see that we've been provided a data set, and a local business recorded the number of customers that visited the store each day for 2 weeks. And in order for us to create our stem and leaf plot for this data set, as we can see up top highlighted in yellow, our first step is going to be to order the data from least to greatest in value. So starting out with our lowest data point here, we have 103. So we're going to write 103 down below. Then we have 105. Then we have 107. Then we have 116. Then we have 119. Then we have 122. Then we have 125. And then we have 127. Then we have 131. Then we have 134. Then we have 139. Then we have 144. Then 145. And lastly, we have 149. So now that we've ordered our data from least to greatest, we're ready to go ahead and actually start creating our stem and leaf plot. So over on the left-hand side here, we're going to create our T-chart. And on the left-hand side of this T-chart, we're going to have our stem. And on the right-hand side, we're going to have our leaf. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how exactly do I split up each of these data points into a stem and a leaf? And in order to show this, over on the right-hand side, we're going to pick a random data point of, let's say, 134. And now whenever you're creating a stem and leaf plot, the leaf is always going to be the last digit of a data point. And the last digit here in 134 is 4. So we're going to put a line right between our 3 and our 4. And then our leaf is going to be the last digit of that data point. So that means that the leaf is going to represent our ones. And then the stem here is going to be our hundreds and our tens. So now that we understand how to split each data point into a stem and leaf, we're ready to go ahead and move on to step number 2, where we're going to list our stems. Now here we need to make sure that we're listing our stems in order from least to greatest. And here our lowest data point is 103, which is going to have a stem of 10. And then we also have a stem of 11 for our 110s. We have some 120s, so that's going to be a stem of 12. We have some 130s, which is going to be a stem of 13. And then we have some 140s, which is going to be represented by the stem of 14. So now that we've finished listing the stems here, we're ready to go ahead and move on to step number 3, where we're going to list our leaves. And once again, we're going to do so in order from least to greatest, starting out with our 103, which is going to have a stem of 10 and a leaf of 3. Then 105, that's going to be a leaf of 5. Then we have 107, which is going to have a leaf of 7. And then we're going to move on to our stem of 11, which represents our 110s. And first we have 116, which is going to have a leaf of 6. Then we have 119, which is going to have a leaf of 9. And now we're going to move on to our 120s, which is going to be our stem of 12. And first we have 122, which is going to have a leaf of 2. 125 is going to have a leaf of 5. 127 is going to have a leaf of 7. And now we're going to move on to our 130s, which is represented by our stem of 13. 131 is going to have a leaf of 1. 134 is going to have a leaf of 4. And 139 is going to have a leaf of 9. And now we're going to move on to our last stem here, which represents our 140s, which we have a 14 for our stem. For 144, we're going to have a leaf of 4. For 145, we're going to have a leaf of 5. And for 149, we're going to have a leaf of 9. So now that we've listed both our stems and our leaves, we're going to move on to our last step where we're going to write a title and a key. And the purpose of this last step is to make it a little easier for the reader to actually understand what it is that they're looking at. So for our title, we're going to use the number of customers per day. And then for our key, well, our key is to allow our reader to understand what each one of these data points means. And we've already created a key over to the right-hand side here for our data point of 134. So we're going to go ahead and use the exact same example in our key for our stem and leaf plot. So on the bottom right here, we're going to write key. And then we're going to include what we've already written. So we have 13 with a line to split them apart, and then a 4, and that's going to equal 134. So as we can see, when we do that extra little step of including a title and a key, it allows the average person to read this and understand what each one of these data points means. So hopefully by now you understand how to create a stem and leaf plot. Help make math less complicated by smashing those like and subscribe buttons. As always, enjoy today's math journey.